was the first offseason at SMU?
What was that again?
How was the first offseason at SMU?
What is that?
Just how'd it go?
I don't know if I would. I don't feel like I've ever been off. After a year of COVID, almost 2, and then a quick turnaround and a new job, off doesn't describe what's going on with me. So I was being facetious.
Gotcha.
You'll figure it out as we go. But it's been great. Number one, because I was able to bring most of my staff with me from Georgia State, but complement that with some guys with some Texas roots. And so I think if I had to put together an entirely new staff, there would have been a little bit more of an overwhelming sort of sense of organization there. But so we were able to hit the ground running just in terms of our overall mode of operation with people that I really trust and believe in. And so that synergy, I think, allowed us to find a niche in terms of that trickle-down communication to the players from a recruiting standpoint, and then from a coaching standpoint, terminology, our philosophy, the way we do things, the way we relate to these young people. There was a consistency that we could hit the ground with that I think helped in some ways.
When you looked at the roster and navigating, replenishing the number of players you need for a team, looking back on it, was there anything you would have done differently? Was there anything that really stuck out to you so far that you said, you know what, we nailed that as a staff?
I don't know that there's anything we would have done differently necessarily. There's a part of us that said, all right, if we could have found a true point guard to do that, that's something that maybe we didn't necessarily get done. But I don't feel necessarily that will prevent us from making progress as a team and as a program, because we've got good players. And so as far as nailing it, I think one of the things that I've always wanted to do was have size, athleticism, speed, and you want to have good young people in the program. And I do think we nailed that for sure. We got good young people who love the game, they get along with one another. Right now we got good chemistry. We hadn't started getting out playing time yet, so knock on wood. But I do think by and large, the overall buy-in of the group has been what you would hope for, but we just haven't reached the level of effort and fight that we're trying to reach, but we'll get there. But it's not because they're fighting us. It's just, maybe I haven't done a good job communicating or whatever it is, but we're just not there yet. Maybe it just takes time, but I want to do it now. I want to be good now because we've got some seniors, and I want them to have a lasting memory. And so I want to go out and try to accomplish something with the group right now. And I say this every year, every team has a 1-year lifespan. And so this particular group is only going to be together once. So I want to do something with this group. And we've got a lot of the ingredients. We're just not there yet, but nobody's there right now anyway. So we've got time, and we're going to have to do a better job of making more of that time, and I believe that we will.
What's it been like? Obviously, had to bring in a lot of transfers out of necessity. What's it been like kind of getting all those new people to mesh along with meshing the guys that came back?
Well, I mean, that's part of being a first-year coach is everybody's new, and that's why that's why I mentioned the staff, because that would compound it even more if, as a staff, they were learning my terminology and my vision and all of these things. Because when the staff is still learning what it is you're trying to do, it's so hard to get the message across to the players, because your staff is such an important part of that process. And so the fact that we've got a working relationship as a staff, I think, having good people in our program, staff and players, I think it helps with the teaching process, because I do think we've got guys, by and large, a lot of times transfers are generally coming to you because it didn't work out at their previous place for some reason or another. It wasn't optimal for them. So now they've got a new opportunity. And with that, almost inherently comes some buy-in. Because now, okay, you left again. You ain't going anywhere else now. Now you got to get it right. And I think these guys are learning that they're around people that love them and that care about them and are holding them to a standard because of what we want to accomplish, not just because we want them to be obedient. But we do want them to be great. We want them to have their dreams come true, team-wise and individually. And then we have a vision for them. And I think they can see that, at least to a degree now. And I think the more we get into this, they will believe that even through the ups and downs, that we're going to stick with them. So yeah, I think we're in a good space on October 12th.
12th, 11th,
11th.
11th. Yeah, one of those.
One of those transfers happens to have the same last name. What's it like actually being Emery's coach? Obviously, you know, you've been there through his career, but to actually now be coaching him.
Yeah, not something I ever wanted to do. People always say, you know, you always want to, if you're going to coach your son, it's easier when it's your best player or your worst player. So he is right in the most difficult space. And a credit to him, you know, because he came to me and said, I think we could both handle this now. He said that, you know, that I can handle what comes with this, and I think you can too. And he was right. You know, it's been fun. I say this all the time. Don't let him see this. don't let him see this part. But when he was like 6, and I was at University of Florida, my wife would drop him off at the gym, and he would come walking in the gym, and no matter what was going on in practice, I would yell out, "Big M is in the house." You know what I mean? And I would be so happy to see him, and the other guys would start doing it. And the funny thing is now, every time I see him, I feel the same way. I just can't say it in front of the guys. You know what I mean? So that's nice. And my daughter's here at school, and my wife is happy that her babies are in town. But a credit to him that he tries really hard. He works hard, so he's not a distraction for me in the gym, because he really does get after it. So it's been a good experience for me.
A few other transfers: Samuel Williamson, Keon Ambrose, you know, and then Xavier Foster. Obviously, very talented guys coming out of high school. What do you see out of them, and just kind of the ability to maybe help them get to that next level now that they are a little bit more seasoned?
Yeah, you know, I've had second thoughts about taking those guys. Sam didn't hear us. You know, I'm proud of those guys. You know, and Sam in particular. I hated that he's sitting there right now because I really think that he's had a unique journey. Number one, he's a tremendous player. He's a really, really gifted player. I mean, we struck gold there, and he's just scratching the surface right now. And I think it's been a reviving experience for him. But I think when you've been as good as he was, 5-star prospect, McDonald's All-American, that there's a script for those guys, and things haven't gone according to the script. And all these other guys that you were in the class with are doing that script. And here you are in your 4th year at SMU. And I'm so proud of the fact that he's been 100% present. Hard to do. And because of that, what I really want is for him to have the best year of his basketball experience thus far. I want it to be this year. And he's been a delight to coach. And he's a tremendous young man and a really, really hard worker. So my expectations for him are really high. And the same with these other guys, you know. So much basketball in Xavier and Keon and Mo and these guys, and we're seeing it every day. I mean, we're so lucky to have these guys. They're good players. They're not just tall and athletic. They're good players who still have a lot to learn, but it's okay. And so I'm just, you know, I'm delighted to have all of those guys, and I felt like we got them all right. You know, like I don't know who's going to do what, when, but I like the opportunity we have as coaches to coach these young people.
We talked a little bit about point guard earlier. Who are some of the guys in that position that are going to be your primary ball handler and things like that?
Well, first, Zurich, you know, he's capable. I mean, there's nothing on the basketball court that he can't do. And our focus with him is to be a complete player. You don't have to be a point guard, but you do have to be a player. And as a player, you're capable of handling the ball, making decisions, scoring, defending, rebounding, and being complete as a player, and taking on those ball handling responsibilities is simply a part of that. So it's not about your title, it's just about the overall completeness of your game. And he has that. He can be an elite defender, he can be an elite decision maker, he can really score, he can really shoot it. I mean, he checks all the boxes, and why wouldn't we try to put it all together? And then Jefferson, capable ball handler, on the ball defender. Sam is going to do it. We're going to play him even when he's at the 4. He'll be a guy who will handle the ball for us. But sometimes we'll just play him at the position, and he's good at it. And I've learned so much about him in his game, his ability to pass the ball and see the floor and make decisions. And when he makes a bad decision, it upsets me because I know he sees everything. So he's so much more dynamic than I thought as a complete basketball player. Here's a guy who, as a sophomore, averaged 8.5 rebounds in the ACC, who can actually play some point for us. And I've been around that. I coached Chandler Parsons, who at 6'9" played a lot of point for us. So I'm comfortable with doing that. So I don't think that this quote-unquote true point guard not being there necessarily has to be this thing that keeps us from making progress. But unfortunately for me, I've coached the last 3 years without really having a true point guard. So as much as I didn't like having that experience, I need to draw from it.